Welcome back to the channel. This is the IPP Education Hub. If you are someone that is considering an IPP implant, or if you are partnering somebody who's going through the IPP process and you have questions about the journey, then you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to be talking about the pain that occurs immediately after getting an IPP implant and what it is like to deal with that pain and how to get through that period of the procedure. Now, keep in mind that this experience is my experience and everybody's going to be different. If you look online, you'll see a wide spectrum of recovery times when it comes to the IPP implant. I remember seeing people online who said that they were feeling better after just 2 or 3 weeks. And so I had really high expectations for how I would be feeling. But for myself, I felt pain for many months. And I think it's only fair to share that with you in the event that you maybe go through the same thing. The good news is that I can say that for myself and many men that I've spoken with, the pain is temporary. And once you're on the other side of that pain, then it is certainly worth it once you're able to have regular sex and intimacy without having to worry about other things that might be bothering you with ED, having to take pills or time injections. None of those things bother you anymore with an IPP, and therefore that pain is less of a consideration. For myself, I would say that the pain that I experienced in the very beginning after my IPP procedure was very constant. Every little movement, everything I touched, everything I did was uncomfortable. Whether I was sitting down, even if I tried to lay down, I wasn't able to work out or do yoga, a lot of these staples of my life. And so needless to say, I had some pretty down moments where I was out of my daily routine. And even though I had just had surgery, I believe that as humans, we sort of need that routine to feel ourselves. And I absolutely did not feel like myself during that time of recovery. So I believe that the important message to receive here is that rest and recovery is a vital part of the IPP recovery process. The more that you can rest and give yourself the rejuvenation that you need, the better that you're going to be, and the more quickly you're going to recover through the process. In my scenario, the universe absolutely aligned when I had my IPP surgery. I work a hybrid role, but after having the surgery, I was able to work completely remote. My employer was very understanding. I didn't tell them that I was having IPP surgery. I just told them that I was having a procedure and that I wasn't sure what the recovery time was going to be. And so they allowed me to work remotely during the time that I needed it, which was about a month and a half after my procedure. Now, if you're someone who works a physically demanding job, or you're on your feet all the time, or you need to go back to work immediately because you don't have the time off, or you're not able to work remotely like I just mentioned, then communicate with your urologist and just make sure that they know that, so that they are giving you all of the advice that is needed to make sure that you're recovering properly. Recovery absolutely takes patience, and the more that you push yourself, the more damage that you risk doing, and the more that you're likely to extend that recovery time, and you don't want that. You want to be ready to use this thing, and so give yourself the time that you need to be able to recover so that you're ready to use it. The same goes for being said about getting back into the gym and also getting back into having sex as it does for work. You're going to want to make sure that you are communicating with your medical professional and that you are adhering to whatever advice that they are giving you. If you're someone who's highly active and you're feeling like you're ready to go again, that's great, but understand that underneath the surface, your body is still recovering, and it's just important to make sure that you do everything that you need to heal during this time. So when it comes to dealing with the pain, here are a couple hacks that I would like to share that I think can be really helpful. First and foremost, I've mentioned this in another video, and it was certainly an odd piece of information that I came across, but it's something that's very popular in the IPP community, and that is this concept of using a baby sock, mostly just on the head of the penis, as this is something that can be very helpful. Now, it wasn't something I really noticed beforehand, but after having the IPP procedure, I noticed just how often my penis was rubbing against certain surface areas. For example, my boxers or my sheets at night in bed. And after the IPP, and your penis is incredibly sensitive, all of those surface areas are going to be very sensitive when it comes to rubbing them against the tip of your penis. And so having that baby sock can be very, very helpful, whether you have it on sort of underneath your boxers during the day or at nighttime when you're trying to sleep. If you put that on, it can also be really helpful as well. The second tip that I would highly recommend is to make sure that you are keeping your body properly iced after getting your IPP procedure. And you'll want to remember that you don't want to just keep the ice on one area for any extended period of time. That's not ideal. And so instead, consider rotating it. What I did is I went from sort of the top of my anatomy where I had the ice on the shaft and my penis, but then I would rotate it to go underneath my scrotum to where it would then apply the ice to that area. And I felt like switching back and forth allowed for my body to get the relief that I needed from the ice without leaving it on my surface area for too long, which can possibly be damaging in the long run. Also, I'll give this quick shout out to make sure that you're not applying any ice packs or whatever you might be using directly to your skin. You'll want to consider some sort of towel or something similar in between the ice pack and your body. When it comes to medications and anti-inflammatories, I'll just say that keep up with whatever your medical professional recommends. Your medical professional will give you a schedule that they think is best for you. And so in those moments where you feel like maybe you don't need it, you don't want to experience later on where the pain does set in. And so it's better for you to consider making sure that you're just keeping up with the schedule that your medical professional has provided for you. The next hack was sort of a fun way that I considered celebrating myself and my new anatomy, and that was buying new underwear for myself. The new underwear that I purchased has this cool, like, pocketed area essentially that just so perfectly fits the entirety of my anatomy. And I would say, like in old boxers, it was more so kind of just all there and it wasn't very comfortable. But this new boxer brand that I use, it pockets everything just so nicely. And I noticed that it made a huge difference when it came to the comfort level of, again, the entirety of my anatomy after getting the IPP procedure. So if you're looking for a fun way to celebrate not just yourself, but your new body and also something that will be much more comfortable, consider looking for a new brand of underwear that is comfortable and maybe has some sort of pouch or comfort system. I have a feeling that you'll be much more satisfied with those options versus anything that you might have had beforehand. Now, you might not only be feeling physical pain, but you might also be feeling the mental side of pain after getting your IPP procedure as well. Some of the hardest parts that I experienced was wondering, is this normal and is my body okay? And I know it's sort of hard to accept in the moment, but I had a lot of men that I had connected with who told me, just keep patient and that this is temporary. And so if anything, I would like to share that same message to anybody who's watching this video and considering an IPP for yourself. If you get to a point where the pain is very intense, just know that you're not alone, but there are some of these hacks that you can consider to try and make it a little bit better. So to summarize, if you've just gotten an IPP or you're getting ready to have your IPP procedure, there are some things that you can do to help with the pain that you might experience. First, don't rush it. Give yourself plenty of time to recover. Second, consider using a baby sock on the head of your penis as a way to prevent rubbing it or aggravating it, because it's going to be very sensitive right after you have your IPP procedure. You'll also want to keep ice applied to your genitals. And to kind of do that, you can rotate back and forth between the top of your shaft, your penis, as well as below your scrotum. You'll also want to make sure that you keep up with whatever prescription regimen your medical professional has prescribed for you. And lastly, if you're looking for a way to celebrate yourself and this new body that you have, consider getting yourself some new boxers or some new underwear. Getting something that allows for support in that area will be so nice, and you will notice that it makes a huge difference when it comes to pain and pain relief and being more comfortable after getting your IPP treatment. Lastly, remind yourself that it's okay and you're not alone in this process, and that the pain is only temporary. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on those notifications so that you are in the loop every time I release a new video here at the IPP Education Hub. As always, thanks for watching, and be kind to yourself and be kind to others.